Hey, good morning, grade 8. I'm sorry that I'm not there for your first day of maths, but hopefully Mr. Foreman got you guys settled. I am going to just explain the first day's work to you guys. I will not be giving you homework tomorrow. I will be back tomorrow, but what I need to do, please, is as I am writing down what is on this page needs to be in your books as well. So I would like you to write this hidden constructions in books. You can write the date if you want. It is the 31st of Jan. Okay, you're not going to have to look exactly the same as mine. But if you wanted to just copy them down and as I am writing down, that's perfectly fine. But you can decide if you want to do instead of a box for your chapter heading, you can do something else. You don't have to do exactly the same as me. Okay, now for the first section that we will be doing, we are just going to be doing this first on this, and the section is instructions. Now, instructions is you teaching you or way of teaching you how to draw angles, how to cut lines in half, for example, how to cut angles in half, all without you using a protractor. So if I tell you, you need to draw a 60-degree angle, you are going to have to, or you need to construct a 60-degree angle, you are going to have to do that without using a protractor. Now, you will all ask to bring a math set today. Please, grade 8, if you don't have one, you can just send me an email or you can tell me tomorrow and we will make it fun for you. There's no problem. I have this math set, and in the math set, there are quite a few items. We are only going to be using 2 of these items, supposed 3 if you want to use a ruler as well. So we have these 2 triangles that we are not going to be using. The protractor we can only use to check our constructions after actually drawing them. We're not going to be using these protractors to draw instructions. What you are going to be using is the pencil that is in your set and the compass. These are 2 important items for doing constructions. We're also going to be using a ruler, so if you want to use this one, you can, or you can just use a different one. And then, of course, also an eraser if you need to erase it. Okay, but the compass and pencil, those are our 2 most important items in the set. Okay, now in order to set up your compass, I want you to open it all the way, all right? Put the pencil in and try, and as you can see here, try and line up the end of the pencil, the point with the point of the compass. Try and do it as closely as possible. And then what you want to do is you want to tighten this compass as much as possible. Okay, the pencil needs to be absolutely tightly put in or locked into that position. Okay. I'm going to put aside for now. And grade 8, of course, at any point in this lesson, you feel like you're falling behind or you feel like you need to quickly pause to sort out your compass, please do that, okay? Pause the video, sort out your compass, and then come back. Okay, we are going to be doing a number of constructions this week, but before we start doing that, I need just to take some definitions, okay? So I'm going to write a new heading. We are going to be looking at some definitions, just some terms, some words that you need to know what they mean, because I'm going to refer to these words quite often in class. And if you don't know what these words mean, then you're going to be a bit lost. Okay, so I normally do a bubble my section heading. So I'll do a box for a chapter, and then for each section, I'll do like a bubble or a cloud heading. But again, you can do whatever you want. Okay, the first definition, I'm just going to make a little star there, is for the word bisect. Now, you might know some of these words from primary school. Great. If you do still copy them down, right, so that you have a list of all terms, all the words that you do need to be able to use. So when you are bisecting something, when you're bisecting a line or an angle, you are cutting that line or angle in half. So bi means 2, and sec means cut. So you're basically cutting it into 2 equal parts. Okay, so to bisect is to cut. a line, slash angle. It can even be a shape, or right, anything actually. If you cut it into two equal parts. All right, that's the first term. So when you're bisecting something, cutting it into two equal parts, cutting it in half eventually. An arc, so ARC, ARK, and an arc is a part of the circumference of a circle. Now you'll see when we're actually doing constructions, we are going to be drawing arcs quite often. So hopefully you will understand. You might not really know what I mean at the moment. You are going to see we're going to use them a lot. So an arc is a part of the circumference of a circle. Now remember, the circumference of a circle is like the outer edge. Okay, so if you have a circle, say for example, there is a circle, all right, that outer edge is called the circumference. Now if you are taking a part of that circumference, I'm just going to take away a little bit more than half of this. All right, that section, it is a part of the circumference. That section we're going to call an arc. Okay. Next up, if something is perpendicular. Oh, perpendicular, so sorry. It is at 90-degree angle to a line. You might have worked with perpendicular angles, perpendicular lines before. You are going to see we're going to use a lot again. If something is perpendicular, it is at a 90-degree angle to a line. So I can just show you on the protractor, for example. Not sure if you all know how protractor works, but there at the bottom of the protractor, we have a line, and let me just move it down a bit. The 90-degree angle is indicated by this line going up. So that angle there between the 90-degree angle line and the bottom line, that angle is 90 degrees. So we will say that this line is perpendicular to the bottom line. Okay. Then the next term is perpendicular bisector. Now that is combined. What about when something is perpendicular and when something is bisecting something else? So if you find the perpendicular bisector of the line, that perpendicular bisector is going to be a line that cuts another one in half because it's bisecting it, and it is at an angle of 90 degrees. Okay, so it is a line that cuts another line in half and is at a 90-degree angle. Okay, so if you have, for example, I'm just going to draw a line over here. I'm going to draw a line from, maybe from 3 to 11. Okay, that line 8 centimeters. Okay, I have drawn an 8 centimeter line. Now, if I'm supposed to be drawing perpendicular bisector, right? First going to see, okay, bisect it. So it's going to have to be at 4 centimeters because if it's cutting this line in half, it has to be 4 and 4. All right, we'll be at 4 centimeters. And then you can just kind of estimate this because it's just a little example of what this kind of line would look like. All right, you can just draw a line that makes a 90-degree angle. Okay, so this would be the perpendicular bisector. guys, what I've done now was not a proper construction because I used my ruler to cut line in half. I'm going to show you when you're doing a proper construction, you will not use your ruler. You're not going to measure all 4 centimeters and 4 centimeters. Okay, I'm just drawing an example of what a perpendicular bisector looks like. Okay. And then also I just kind of guessed, you know, I just estimated here how this line would have to look to form a 90-degree angle. I did it accurately. Okay, that is another, it's not a proper construction that I've done. I'm just showing you guys what perpendicular bisector looks like. So if you want to, you just highlight this line here at the top, because this is the line that we are talking about. This is the perpendicular bisector. Okay, but I'm going to show you a way of drawing a perpendicular bisector completely accurate without measuring the ruler or without perhaps using your protractor to draw in that 90-degree angle. Okay, next up, intersect. That's the next term. Now that means just cross over or cut. So for example, if you have a line like this and you have a line like that, those two lines are crossing over each other. They are cutting each other. So we say that they intersect. Then to carry on from that, we have a point of intersection. Now a point of intersection is the point where two lines cross over each other, or the point where two lines cut. So the point where two lines, you can say cross over, you can say cut, you can say where they meet. All right, so for example, that point over there, that will be the point of intersection of these two lines that I have drawn. Okay, those are basic definitions I need to be able to use. I'm not going to ask you to write these down in a test or exam, okay? So we won't say to you, okay, what is the definition of perpendicular bisector? Okay, we won't do that. The only way in which you need to be able to use these terms is to actually, if I'm asking you in a test or exam to draw up or to construct a perpendicular bisector, you need to know what that means. If I'm asking you something about a point of intersection, you need to know what I'm talking about. Okay, so these definitions are not to learn off by heart, but to actually understand and be able to write. All right, so first construction that we're going to do is going to be to construct or to bisect a line. Okay, now I'm actually going to start on a new page. I do some space left over, but I want my whole construct to be on one page, which is why I'm starting on a new page. All right, so I'm just going to write the heading for this, bisecting a line. Okay, now remember that bisecting means to cut in half. So we can just add that. Okay, so bisecting, cutting in half. Okay, I'm gonna write down the steps that we're going to follow, and guys, you're going to have to memorize steps, unfortunately. Or you can practice a bunch of times, but yeah, it is going to require some form of memorizing from you. Okay, now the first step that you're going to do is you are going to use a ruler to draw a line of any length. In a test or exam, you usually will tell you how long the line is that you need to draw. So we'll say to you, for example, draw a line that is 8 centimeters long. Okay, but for just bisecting a line, you don't have to draw a specific length. All right? You have to always just, well, if they're not giving you an instruction, you can just draw a line any length. Okay, we are going to label the line as A, B. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do that now. So please take a ruler. Please open a couple of lines, all right, because we're going to be doing instruction here. Okay, just draw any length. Doesn't matter. You can decide. Don't even have to measure. You can just draw a straight line. Please do use your ruler for this step. Now, what I'm just going to be doing is I'm going to put an A at the end of my line and then a B at the other end. Okay, darkening that out a bit. Now I am basically saying that the name of this line is AB. Okay. Step 2. Leave open a few lines again because we are actually going to do this construction on this piece of paper. You're going to have to draw something above and below. Okay, so leave on about as many lines below the line as you left open above. Okay, so you left open 5 lines here, leave open 5 lines again. All right, so now step 2 is going to be open your compass to width that is larger than half length of A. Okay. So you don't actually have to measure AB in order to do this step. So you're going to take your compass and you can just kind of guess. All right. So kind of the point of the compass, you think the middle point or the mid is going to be, okay, be around there. And then what you want to do is you want to just open your compass so that it goes past point A. All right, so you're opening your compass somewhere here in the middle. It doesn't have to be accurate. And then you are just opening your compass slightly past point A from okay, so that you can see that the width of the compass is definitely more than half the length of AB. That would be half the length of AB. All right, not accurately, but this is definitely more than half the length. Okay. So that's the first part. Step 2, you're going to open your compass to a width that is larger than half the length of the B. Then you're going to place the point of your compass on point A. Place the point of your compass on point A and draw an arc. There is a term that we wrote down earlier. Draw an arc above and below the line. Okay. Sorry, I just took a sip of water. All right, so I'm going to show what that means. So we've opened our compass to a width that is larger than half the length. We're going to place the point of the compass on point. Now you need to be very, very accurate when you're doing it. You need to make sure that you actually are putting it on the very end point of that line. Now we're going to, all right, you need to hold the compass on this top. You're not going to touch either of these arms of the compass because you don't want to adjust the length or the width of it by accident. So you're only going to touch this top bit, and you're going to kind of swivel the pencil, all right? Now above the line, you're going to draw an arc like that. You might have to lengthen the arc later on, that's fine, okay, but I'm just drawing it like that. And I'm doing the same thing below the line. And I'm making sure that I'm not lifting up my compass in between that. If your compass, if the point of your compass does lift up from point A, it's okay. Then, before you do your second arc, you need to make sure that you're putting it back in exactly the same spot as we were drawing your first arc. There should be a little hole in your page, so just find it and put back in. Okay, so that was 2. Now for 3, we're going to repeat the process, but we're going to put our compass on point B. All right, for step 3, we are also going to not adjust the width of the compass when we're going to point B. All right, we're going to keep exactly the same thing, so not touching either of the arms. So step 3, do not change the width of the compass. Very, very important. If you change the width, you're not going to be able to do this accurately. So do not change that. Now, guys, if you change the width by accident, what I want you to do is to go back, erase your first arcs, and start again. Okay, it will be easier than trying to get width back to what it was. All right, so I want you to, I'm going to say that again. If you change width of the compass by accident, to go erase these first 2 arcs and start it again. Okay, so do not change the width of the compass. Place the point of your compass on point B. And draw an arc above and below the line. Now this is important. Make sure that these arcs intersect, so cut, intersect the arcs drawn from point A. All right, that is important, guys. You have to make sure that the arcs are actually intersecting the arcs that you drew from point A. Okay, I'll back to this step now if you're done copying it. But I just want to show you. So now again, remember you didn't change the width of the compass. We're placing the point on point B. I am only touching this top part of the compass, and I am just gently going to draw an arc that, do we see, intersects the arc that we drew in the previous step. And we do the same at the bottom of the line. Now guys, your arcs don't have to be as dark as mine. I think it's quite a dark pencil. You can draw them very, very faintly. Okay, you just need to be able to see them. They don't have to be as dark as mine. I think sometimes when you're trying to make the arcs as dark as possible, that is when the pencil or the compass might move a bit. So if it's just a faint line, that's fine. It doesn't have to be very, very dark. Okay, so that was step 3. All right. Then the last step. All the points of intersection of the arcs C and D. I'll show you now what I mean by that. Use a ruler to join the two points of intersection. CD bisects line AB. Okay, I'll just give you a chance to finish copying that down. Okay, I'm going to go back up the actual construction. Now you can take your pencil again, or you can take your pen, and you are just going to lightly draw a line, a point there, I mean. That is the point of intersection of the first two arcs. We call that C. Then we're going to do the same thing at the bottom, right? The point of intersection of these two arcs, so the point where they cut, that we are going to call D. Then I want you to take your ruler, place your ruler so that it goes through both of those points, right? Then draw a line through both of those. You can also extend past those points as well. You can see that my line is actually not perfectly accurate because it's a little bit to the side of this point. So I would actually have to fix that, okay? It isn't in pen now, so that was a set of me. I can't figure that now, all right? But please use a pencil when you're drawing that. Now this line, which we can call line CDD, goes through point C and D, actually bisects line AB. Now you can take your ruler and can check that. Okay, so my line AB is, it looks like 8.4 centimeters long. All right. Now, if I look at this, do we see that this line CD is at 4.2, which is exactly halfway between A and B. This length is 8.4, which means this length must be 4.2, and that length must be 4.2. Guys, once you've done that, I want you to just draw a small line on each half. And that line, and you might know this from primary school, is just indicating that these two parts are equal, showing that that line has now bisected this. Now, if you were to take your protractor and you were to put that on this line, all right, so I'm putting the bottom line of my protractor on AB, do we see that CDD line we drew now actually forms a perfect 90-degree angle with AB. So we can put that in as well. What we've actually drawn here without intending or trying to necessarily, we have actually not only drawn a line that cuts, that bisects AB, but also drawn a line that is perpendicular to AB. So this line we can actually call a perpendicular bisector. So please just add that on the side. CD is perpendicular. This is the symbol for perpendicular to AB, and bisects AB. Therefore, CD is a perpendicular bisector of AB. So they actually were to ask you in a test exam, construct a perpendicular bisector of a line, you would follow these exact same steps. Okay, the steps for just bisecting a line or for drawing a perpendicular bisector of a line are exactly the same. Okay, so add that to the heading. So these are steps for bisecting a line or drawing a perpendicular bisector. To a line. Okay. So those are steps that you need to be able to do. Now, grade 8, I told you that I'm not going to give you homework. This is not homework. You will have to finish this in class. If you do not finish this in class, it will become homework. But I want you to do some right here at the bottom. Class work. Draw a 6 centimeter line. You can again call the line AB. So you can again put an A on the one end and a B on the other end. And bisect. All right, so I want you to follow exactly the same steps that we've written down and that practice now, but your starting line has to be 6 centimeters long. Okay, so you can just write this down, maybe just write this at the top of the next page and then do the construction underneath this, and then you are done for today. I say again, if you don't finish this in class, you're going to have to finish it at home for tomorrow. Okay, thank you so much, grade 8. Have a good day.